Welcome. I've done a number of videos on this Amcrest Video Doorbell, and this doorbell was provided to me by Amcrest, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you're looking to get a video doorbell, I'll put a link to it in the description, and if you use that link, it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So in this video, I'm going to be going over how you can do a time lapse using the doorbell. Now this is a little bit advanced, so I'm using the command line here, and I'm doing this on a Mac, but you should be able to do this on Windows with Windows Subsystem for Linux. Or you could do it on a Linux computer or like a Raspberry Pi. And you'll need two pieces of software. You'll need curl and FFmpeg. I'll put a link below to my FFmpeg notes, and I have some links on there on how to install FFmpeg on some different systems. And I think curl is installed on the Mac. I can't remember off the top of my head. So if you're on Ubuntu or Raspberry Pi or Windows Subsystem for Linux using Ubuntu, you could type sudo space app space update, run that, and then you would type sudo space app space install space curl space FFmpeg, and that will install the software you need. This is also using the bash shell. So on a Mac, if you're using Z shell, I don't know that this would work, so you just want to type bash, and that will take you into the bash shell. On whatever system you're using, you can type echo space $, and then capital shell, and that will tell you which shell you're using, and I'm using bash. So the first thing you want to do is create a folder. So I want to put this on my desktop, so I'll type cd space desktop, then I'll type mkdir, then I'll call it doorbell tl2. I did this earlier for my test, so this one will be number 2. I'll type cd space doorbell tl2, and I'll put a link in the description of my website where I'll have the commands I'm typing out, so you can copy and paste them from there, so you don't have to copy them from your video. I'll clear my screen here. So this is the first command. And I'm doing this with an Amcrest Video Doorbell, but this would likely work with any of the other Amcrest products and maybe even other video cameras, because a lot of video cameras use similar firmware. So this is the command that's going to capture the images for the time lapse. And on whatever system you're using, you may need to tell the system not to go to sleep. So you may need to go to the energy settings in your computer and tell it to sleep never. So what this is doing is it's running a loop. So it says while, and then do, and then this curl here. See if I can select it. This is downloading an image from the camera. So digest is related to authentication, and then O is the output file, and we're just naming this as the date. So we have year, month, day, hours, minutes, seconds, .jpg. And then we have the URL. So this is the URL from the camera. And with this doorbell camera, the username is admin, and then the password is whatever you set for the password when you set it up. And then you need the IP address of the camera. And I'll put a video clip in now telling you how to get the IP address from the Amcrest Smart Home app. Okay, so I'm in the Amcrest Smart Home app. I'll click on the gear in the upper right. I'll go to device information. And then if you can see towards the bottom, it says IP address, and it says 192.168.7.214. So we'll get back to my computer now. After the IP address, you have /CGI-bin/snapshot.cgi semicolon. So what this will do is this will download an image from the camera. Next you have sleep 10, so this is the interval. So this will download an image every 10 seconds. So I do want to specify here that when you download an image, it might take a second or two to download the image. So you might actually have 12 seconds between each. So keep that in mind when you're setting this. I don't have any specific rules for setting the interval. I could have probably set this to about 22 seconds and got exactly what I needed. But you want to err on the side of having too many pictures as opposed to not having enough. And then after that we have done. So if I run this here, it will run through a loop where it just downloads images. So you can see here it downloaded one. It was 270K. And then after 10 seconds here, it will download another. So there we go. So you want to run this, and I ran it today for hours. I started it, I think, around 9 o'clock and ended it around 5. And it didn't seem to skip a beat. So I had it running on my Raspberry Pi computer, and it's plugged into Ethernet, but the doorbells run over Wi-Fi. So if you have shady Wi-Fi or iffy Wi-Fi, that could be a problem. In my case, it seemed to work very well. So I have a couple pictures here. I'll hit Control-C to exit this. I'll type ls here, and we can see we have 5 images. So next I'm going to go over 2 commands that I didn't need, but I have this command here that is a find command that finds empty files. I know in the past when I've messed with time lapses, I've had times where there was a problem and a JPEG didn't get stored, so it was an empty file. So running this command will look for empty files. And I don't have any, thank goodness, but if I did, it would show up here. And then to get rid of them, you run the same command and you type -delete at the end. Now, when you're running find with delete, you have to be careful. You could end up deleting something you don't want to delete. So you can go into your computer, sort by size, look for any that have 0K, and just manually delete them. That's probably the safer option. So next we want to turn all of these images. Let me open this real quick. So I'll preview these. So we have some nice clouds in the background now. So you can see the different images here. I'm cycling through them. So in order to turn this into a video, I'm going to run this ffmpeg command. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it in here. And I may put a couple different versions of this on my website, but this should cover everything. I may have some simpler versions you can use. So we have ffmpeg, and then we have frame rate here is the input frame rate. So this is inputting at 60 frames per second. And then we have pattern glob-i star.jpg. So this is taking all the JPEG files. And then we have VF as video filter, and then it says crop. Let me adjust this here just a little bit. Yeah. See if I can clean this up. There we go. That didn't make it any better. Okay, so it says crop here. It's kind of cut in half. And then what this is doing here is this is cropping and scaling it. So this is cropping it to 16:9 and scaling it to 1920 by 1080p. So the images that are being captured by the doorbell are already 1080p. So I actually don't need this line here. But I wanted to put that in here, and I'll have different versions on my website. If you're working with a different system that has a higher resolution, say you have a camera that has 4K and you want to downscale it to 1080p, you can use this. So you can play around with this a little bit. If you don't need to crop and you just want to scale, you can remove the crop portion of that. So everything from right before scale to crop. Then next we have libx264. So this is going to encode it as H.264. Then we have -R60. This is the output frame rate. Then we have PixFormat YUV 420p. And this makes it compatible with QuickTime. So you may not need that on other systems, but it's compatible with other systems too. So I'll hit enter here, and this will create a video. So this happened crazy fast because I had 5 images in here. So I'll open this folder up, and we'll see the doorbell video. I can open that, and I can run it. Of course, it runs crazy fast. I didn't want to extend this video by capturing thousands of images and then rendering the video. That can take a long time. So I've already done that. So I'm going to switch over to that folder, which is my doorbell TL folder. Let me open that. So in here we have 3,204 items. 2 of those are videos that I've made, but the rest are all images. So I can cycle through these images here. And if I scroll down to the bottom, actually I'll use the scroll bar. There we go. I have 2 doorbell videos. So this is the first one. And this is 53 seconds long. So I'll play that. And not much happens, but it does snow later on. But that was a little long for me. I didn't really like 53 seconds, so I did it again, and that's doorbell faster. So the thing I changed here, hopefully you can see this. Let me see, can I make it bigger? I changed the input frame rate here. So I had 60, and I changed it to 120, and that doubled the speed. So if we look at faster, now we're down to 27 seconds. So I'll play that. And you can see it starts snowing. It covers the ground pretty quick. It doesn't build much after that. So I'm going to stop that. So I'm going to copy this bottom one here. Okay, so I've removed the filter from this one. So I'm going to run this ffmpeg command so you can kind of see what it looks like. The other one flashed by really quickly. So this is what you'll see when you're encoding with ffmpeg. Let me stretch this out a little more. So you can see the frame it's on here, and you'll also see it says drop because it's dropping frames. So we have more frames than we need here. And then you can see the speed up here is 0.186. So this is 0.18 times the regular speed. So it is kind of slow doing this. But I think there are 3,000 some frames and we're 400 in. So it's going pretty good. It doesn't take too long. Now you can use hardware encoding, and I do have notes on that on my FFmpeg notes page. And if you want to get into that, you can watch some videos on that. So I can just hit Q here to stop this. That's no problem. And there it will stop. So that stopped at 708 frames, I think it was. So now we can say open doorbell faster 2, and here we have that video. So I'm going to insert the actual time lapse here while I do my outro. And I went through this kind of quickly. Like I said, it's a little advanced, but if you're stuck anywhere, definitely leave a comment below. I want to help you out. I didn't want to put every single detail on here of using command line and such, because the video can get really strung out. But if you do get stuck somewhere, drop a comment below and I'll try and help you the best I can through the comments. So if you do have any questions, drop those below. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.